This is Real Dilemma Podcast with Regina and Dorcas.
Hey guys, welcome to Real Dilemma Podcast. We are your favorite hosts, Regina and Dorcas. Yes. Welcome back to another episode. And yeah, guys, if you're new here, welcome. And if you are a returning watcher, listener, whatever the case may be, we love you. Thank you so much for subscribing. And click the subscribe button if you haven't. Like, share our videos. Yeah, and we hope you stay. We hope to build a community and a family here, right? Yeah, cool.
Leave your comments. Don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment box. And yeah, let's get into it. This episode is starting too serious and I don't like it.
No, but the episode is gonna be serious anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be laugh and joking.
I know, I'm already laughing. It's a bit odd, right?
A bit serious, but then we're who we are.
Yeah. So today we have quite a sensitive and serious topic that we're going to be touching on, but because it's such a, I don't know if I'd say serious because we don't really want it to be, because it's such a sensitive topic, we just felt like we couldn't do it on our own, and we thought it's right for us to bring a guest, guys. So this is our first guest. Come on, guys, give it a hand. This is our first on the podcast. Yeah. So it's our first guest. Yeah. So we're gonna specially introduce our first guest, right? And I'm gonna leave that in the hands of Dorcas to do because she's got the juice and the tea. So yeah.
So to introduce this guest, this guest is a very, very special guest.
All right.
You guys already saw him, so it's not like the camera was zooming in on him or anything. But
yeah.
He's a very special guest. Very special to me because I know him personally.
Aww.
I've known him for a bit. How long now?
Close to 3 years.
About 3 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's about
yeah. For a bit, but I'm going to introduce him now. His name is Diplomat Tiawo Sanusi. He's an emerging African young diplomat and the executive administrator, Africa Young Diplomats Forum. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and he's also a member and special emissary of United World Congress of Diplomats. And he was recognized as Top 100 Influential Global Voices 2024.
Wow.
If you're watching this in 2025, it was last year. And this happened this year.
Yeah. Wow. Wait, sorry. Before we go, let's give a hand. Yes, guys, let's welcome Diplomat Tiawo Julius. Yes, thank you so much for being on our pod.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. So
Thank you.
Go on with your question.
So you were recognized for your outstanding contributions to the human race as a young diplomat.
Wow.
How would you say you got that recognition?
Yeah, so it's been a long time of hardworking contribution, supporting the community of humanity.
Wow.
In terms of, I started way back when I was 12 years old as a UNICEF child ambassador in Nigeria.
Really?
Yes, they're moving up to 14 years old, and by the time I was 18, I've covered quite a number of African countries, and then as at 18 years old, I was already in the UK coming for an exchange program supported and sponsored by British Council.
Really?
Oh,
yes.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yes, it was an international summer school programs, and that was highly phenomenal.
Wow.
And launched me into another realm of what I am today, and where I also want to be in another 5 to 10 years time to come.
Oh, that's lovely. I didn't know that. Really, Tiawo?
Yeah.
You don't see I'm finished. You're looking at him like you don't know that. Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so lovely to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad you came because what we're talking about today is very sensitive, like you said.
Yeah.
And we felt like we needed someone who, could speak on it.
Yeah.
First-hand experience. And I'm glad you're here on the conference.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome. We are so glad to have you. So we've gotten all the intros and the welcomes in. So let's dive right into what we're going to be talking about, guys. Oh yes.
You don't need to leave a disclaimer.
Yes, so disclaimer, guys. We are not professionals. We always say this. Yes, we're not excuse me, English. We are not professionals, and whatever opinions or things we say on this episode is based off our personal experiences. We do ask to take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, today we're going to be talking about sensitive things, and whatever advice we give, we would ask you to go ahead and do your own research, find the right resources for you to reach, get what you need, basically. So with that said, we're going to be talking about autistic spectrum, living with autism, neurodiversity. If you're a parent, if you're raising a child with autism, especially within the African community. So that's why we've decided to bring Mr. Tiawo here on, because he's not necessarily a specialist, but he has a lot of experience and knowledge about this topic that we're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's right.
This is Real Dilemma Podcast with Regina and Dorcas.
So I'm going to just do a little definition of what autism is, or neurodiversity, guys. I'm just going to check my phone because Google is everybody's friend.
Our best friend.
So autism spectrum is also known as ASD, which is the autism spectrum disorder. It is a neurological and developmental condition that affects how people communicate, learn, behave, and interact with others. The symptoms of ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder, include things like difficulty communicating and interacting with others, repetitive behavior, and restricted interests, difficulties transitioning from activities, a focus on details and unusual reaction to sensation. So there's a lot more on Google, but you could take out time to read up on it. Another definition of, like, another word, a term that people call people on, autistic spectrum or ADHD are neurodivergent people. I think that's a recent term that has been put out now. So they are called people with neurodiversity or neurodivergent.
So are they like grouping it?
So they're grouping it, exactly. Yeah. So there are different types of neurodiversity. So there are things like autism, like we spoke about. There is dyslexia. There is ADHD. I'm just trying to find other things. There's dysgraphia. There's a lot of words here that I can't pronounce, guys. But ADD. Attention, I think deficiency disorder or something like that. But there's there's a group of them. I think Down syndrome is one as well. Learning disabilities, physical disabilities, just where you're not technically functioning as in quotes, what's perceived as normal. Perfect. So to go into this, I just wanted to ask the question, what comes to mind when you think about, or prior to what we know now, because us being in the UK, there's a lot of awareness about things, especially with things like this and medical conditions, right? But prior to that, what would have come to your mind, or what would come to mind when you heard the term autism or neurodiversity? I know that was probably not a word then, but things like Down syndrome.
Like what would come to your mind as an African?
Yes, as an African back then, like before you know what you know now. Let me ask Mr. Tiawo.
Wow. Thank you very much for having me once again. And it's actually a wonderful platform, and we could use this as a means to reach out to the entire community and people back home. But I can tell you, based on this question, when we go back to the basis, based on our traditional belief, based on our understanding, based on our little knowledge, because this research is evolving, and then based on your introduction, first thing that will come to your mind is witchcraft.
True.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
witchcraft. And let me tell you, whether we like it or not, I'm not trying to downgrade us, okay? I'm just trying to say what is going to be the first impression or expression on our face. Like, you get back to a child with autism spectrum, like the child isn't talking, there is no form of recognition and composition in terms of social ability. Then the next thing is that, permit me to say this word in Yoruba, I'm going to interpret it to you in English, like, Aye tin shomode.
Wow.
That the world are against you. You understand? And this is witchcraft.
Yeah, like you feel like it's about you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
And it's
Like
not just you feeling, it's people making you feel that way.
Okay.
Yeah. People
That's
making
another
it
thing.
seem feel that way.
Like, look at it. Look at this word. And it is important for us to be able to say it like, my enemy are after me. You understand?
Yeah, because sorry to cut you, because in Africa, or I'll speak for Nigeria because that's where I'm from. In it, in it, God, in it, God will deliver me from in it. God will deliver me from in it. But yeah, like back then, back home in Nigeria and in Africa, we're very ruled by religion. We're ruled by religion and spiritual matters a lot. So when we see cases like this, just like you said, the first thing is to turn to a spiritual aspect, like my enemies are after me. Like, really?
Correct.
Okay. Cool.
And you know, it's not only peculiar to Nigeria when it comes to African context. Based on exposure and experience to various African countries I've been to, I also discovered that because of our historical belief, our shared hegemony differences, you will see that what is applicable in Nigeria, I will not mention any other countries, but it's also applicable in other African countries. And they will say it in their own language that is known to them, in their dialect. Like, in fact, I can tell you this for fun, that in some other countries that I've seen, based on their primitive way and understanding, they will even take the child to a shrine and have to go and get maybe 7 brooms and be to
Cleanse the child.
thank you very much. It's wrong with the child, but knowing to us that knowledge and research has gotten to a particular session whereby you need to understand that this is not about you or it's not about the child, but there is something that is evolving within the system, okay, that has led to this particular. I can tell you, apart from the first thing that comes into your mind, because we are from the primitive end, we don't tend to understand that probably maybe something must have been wrong in terms of genetic.
Yes, because it is. Sorry to cut you. It is a brain.
Yeah.
It's a condition,
function of the brain.
It's a function of the brain.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Correct.
it's basically, it's not anything like.
It's nobody's fault.
It's nobody's
at all,
fault.
at all.
Exactly. There are other things out there, and people say different things. Studies show different things, but the root of it is that it's a brain function.
Exactly.
So that's why even when I was reading up on it and stuff like that, a lot of the words that come to mind is they don't want it to be like they want it to be it's just a different way of life for these people. It's a norm for them. We don't want people to start seeing autistic people as different, because that would breed discrimination, that would breed all sorts of negativity, which is what we're saying. For me, going back to the question of what would come to mind, to be honest, I didn't really have much of knowledge growing up about it because there was no education within the African community.
There was no education, and then kids who were on the spectrum were hidden away from.
They were hidden.
Yes.
So we did not know.
Thank you.
Exactly. Or they were termed. The one thing that I always say, I'm going to be personal, right? Because I always say that growing up, a lot of African children have this neurodiversity, but because of lack of understanding and lack of knowledge, they term these children as olodo.
Oh my God!
In school.
That is so true.
For example, I'll give an example. My brother, he's very growing up and understanding made me understand that his way of assimilating information is different. He's not been, there's no diagnosis, there's no anything that's been done, because obviously I'm sure my parents didn't have an idea of all these things, right? But from what I know now, working in the care industry, having a child that not necessarily has been was diagnosed of being on the spectrum, but we have seen symptoms, right? So having all this knowledge and researching myself, I look back on the people I grew up with as a child, even myself. I have sensory. Personally, I know I have sensory. What do you call it? Sensory issues. I don't know what to call it issue, but sensory, because people that know me know. One, I don't like to wear shoes. The fact that I'm wearing this Crocs is killing me right now. I just want my feet to be touching the ground. If I'm sitting closer to you, Mr. Julius, right, I'll be touching your hand right now.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I am a sensory. Like, I don't care who you are. If I'm right next to you, I just need to feel a cold sense. Like, I don't know if it's part of it.
That keeps you calm, right?
It keeps me. Yeah. My husband hates it. You say in Yoruba, sorry guys, I'm just gonna say, are you a cat? Are you a cat? Why are you rubbing on me like a cat? I'm like, bro, I'm like, I don't know, I can't help it. It's something I've always done, like, you know. So it just goes back to, there's a lot of thing that unfortunately our parents didn't know, and that's why I'm so proud of our generation of parenting, because there's a lot of awareness. Now we have the awareness. I feel like where we need to get to is acceptance. And then moving and living with, learning how to live with this and bring up kids and children.
I realized since I've been in this country that for acceptance to come, it takes a level of exposure.
Facts.
If you're not exposed to certain things, it will be difficult for you to accept what's foreign to you.
Yeah, true.
That even for me, speaking for myself, there are certain things now that I'm exposed to that I accept. Things that I did not necessarily accept
back home.
So it's easier for me to accept it now because I'm exposed to these things. This is my new reality. It's normal here. So it's going to take a lot.
And that's why we're having these conversations, because we can't go back home to Nigeria, but social media, those are the pros of social media. It travels far.
Another thing is the word of mouth. From one person to another, then before you know it, it gets to the people.
But with word of mouth, I have a question. Do you think for people who are living or who have kids who are on the spectrum, what do you think is holding them back from speaking about it?
That's a good question.
Because you never can tell. Just telling the next person might give you answer.
You
know that you don't have. What do you think would be stopping them from maybe,
from speaking out, from talking out? Number one, if you look at it critically, like she have said, that because of the knowledge that we have gathered and we've had now, we are able to come out to say it. But looking at people back home, number one, stigmatization. They believe that people will stigmatize them. I'll bring it back to memory. Remember during the time of HIV and AIDS, and the people in the Western world, they already understand that HIV, if you have HIV, it's not exactly. Cancer is not.
It's not. They will
even tell you that, I have a cancer, I have a diabetes. But back home, because of stigmatization, the moment they hear that you are HIV positive, people started running away from you. So the same thing is happening within the context of anyone. I've got a child who has been, even without going through the clinical diagnosis, the moment they notice that the child is not speaking the time the child was supposed to be talking, not walking, not doing things in accordance to the ethical procedures, they begin to stigmatize. Pardon me to say this, I'm going to interpret it like, Romo Yataye. They have gone to hide that boy under the bed. You understand? Because of that alone is killing people. Another thing is because of their primitive belief. Okay, because they believe that the moment I take my child out, apart from the fact that they're going to stigmatize against the child, okay, people begin to look at the child with some kind of demonic spirit, and they don't want the child to be closer or to move around any of your children.
As if it's contagious.
Exactly, and it's not. It's not.
As if it's contagious.
Yeah. I know my husband's sister, one of his sisters, she's got Down syndrome, I know some of the stories that he told me growing up. She was seen as, just like you said, she has some sort of witchcraft or something. Like, people would want to stay away from the and genuinely, when I got into the family and I met the girl, she's so normal. Yeah. The only thing is literally the looks. Obviously, maybe growing up there were other signs, but with age, she's sort of come to, and this is someone that didn't even have resources around her. She didn't have help to sort of help, because in the UK here, you go to the shopping center, you go to Asda or Aldi, you see someone packing, I don't know if they should do, or Tesco, the people that pack bags, I don't know if you've ever come across them. Some of them are like people with Down syndrome. They work in shops, they get married, they have a normal life. Yeah. Right? Correct. And I feel that is what we need to bring awareness to. It's not a death sentence. They're normal people. They just process life, assimilate information a different way. Exactly. Yeah. Sorry to keep yapping on, right? my son, so to bring it home, my second son, when we noticed, which will bring me to another question, when we noticed, initially I didn't even notice that he was different. Until, like you said, people started asking, your son is not talking. How old is he? He has not started talking. He's not doing it.
He's not wearing diaper.
So bro, he's still wearing pampers.
What is your
At 4 years old, why is he wearing pampers? And I'm thinking, this is an issue? I didn't know it's an issue. Okay. I still really didn't take people seriously. And I'm going to call my mother out. You were one of them, by the way. Mom, you were one of them. But like, I didn't take notice of it until he got to school, nursery. And thankfully, they were the ones that, because he started displaying some other behavioral, because a lot of it is behavioral. With autism, is behavioral signs. Yeah, so he started displaying a lot of behavioral signs. They started getting worried, obviously, and as a nursery, it's their duty of care to raise the matter. And it was from their observations, and then I'm like, oh yeah, he used to do this at home, head banging, elbow banging, because he doesn't know how to communicate his feelings. He doesn't have the words. He didn't speak. It's up until like last year he really started communicating. And this is a 5-year-old boy. Do you get what I mean? So it took a toll on me. That's another conversation for another day. How it affects the parents. It's a lot. It's a lot. We can dive, if we have time, we might dive into it. If we don't, but it took a toll. So basically, I've forgotten my train of thoughts.
You wanted to ask a question.
Yes, so
part of the parent.
Thank you. My question is, what signs and symptoms What signs for maybe a parent that is not really in the know of, like, it doesn't really know much about it? What kind of signs can they look out for to sort of, I don't know if I say self-diagnose, but to take the first step to even, before speaking to,
Yeah, I think we've actually nailed it. There are, number one, looking at it, every signs of neurodivergence in young children actually varies. Yeah. It totally varies, but I will give you from experience, then I'll bring it home. Okay, so for me, because they are very, so I will say from experience that the first point of noticing was on the aspect of the speech delay. Yeah. Okay, it is normal for a child with the age of 1 year and a half to be able to have started saying something in line with daddy, mama, something like that. Yeah. Okay, but it will become so worrisome if the child has not opened his or her mouth to say something of such.
Okay, so even if it's just dada, just mama.
That's fine, yeah.
At that age is normal. Then another thing is that another thing that you need to also watch out is limited eye contact. They fail to compose or to give you straight 1 second, 2 seconds eye contact. Yeah. That's why I say I'll bring it home. I know of a child who cannot maintain 1 second's eye contact, and he cannot even sit for 1 second in a single place. And such children, if you bring them into this place, the next thing they will do is to scatter everywhere.
Yeah, and of what you're saying, other people that are around you would say, this child is, why is his parents not?
That
is another thing. that used to,
Thank
you know,
you.
get
You
under my
got it.
skin. It's like,
Yeah.
and I had to bring myself to a point where I let them know my child is not stubborn. He's out, because I've gotten to a point of acceptance and understanding of what is happening. I still pray for my child because I know there's nothing God cannot do. For the Christians out there, I believe there's nothing God cannot do, and the Muslims out there as well. But I still have the understanding that this is what it is. This is my reality for now. And until God does what he has to do, I have to be, you know.
But
so sometimes you have to correct people.
But do you know that they can walk out of it?
Yeah.
So they can
Although
really
on
walk
Google
out
it
of
says that they can't grow out of it,
They
but
can.
I don't believe that.
And I will give you stages.
So how do you not
Thank
going
you.
out of it if they're getting married, if they're working?
Yeah.
So it means they're going out of it
Yeah.
in some way,
Yeah.
shape or form.
I think the difference, when we say grow out of it, the reason Google says they can't grow out of it or you can't come out of autism is because there are levels on the spectrum. It's a spectrum, right? So there's the high, there are people
There
that
are
are called the
stages.
high functioning, which are people that can live a normal life. You might not even know they are autistic until they open their mouth to tell you. Those are high functioning. And then there are the ones that are, I don't know what they call them, but they're on the other end
Extreme,
the other end of the spectrum. So that's why it now seems like they are, but it's still, and to be honest, I feel like everyone is on this damn spectrum.
Of course.
Every single person is
of course.
everybody.
Sometimes I think I have ADHD.
Bruh.
The conversation for another day, but sometimes I think
Yeah, you're right. Because you look at it, for some people, what you see with them 24/7 is F phone.
Yeah. That's me, mate.
Yeah.
I'm with my headphones. I can't.
I don't, my phone is always on silent. I never want my phone to ring out.
Really?
Never ever.
That's
Same here
some
too.
sort
I
of.
can't stand it.
That's why
Same here
there's
too.
this blurred line. Some people say believe that everyone's, and some people say no. Whatever it is, I personally feel like everyone has some sort of level.
You know, when you also
Yeah.
look at noise is a trigger as
Yes, a massive trigger. Yeah,
A very serious one.
See, this last weekend that we did Halloween, and it was just crazy because we had Halloween, Diwali, Guy Fawkes. Everything was on the same
Exactly.
weekend, and my area, I live where there's a lot of Asians, Indians, and people, bruv, all night.
Exactly.
My son, I felt so bad for him,
Exactly.
but he doesn't have a choice in that. He be survived. Bro, in as much as we are doing all these things, he will survive, because one thing I do with him is I don't shelter him from these
I
things.
do like that.
I don't shelter him. I expose him to, because initially when I first understood his situation, it was a toll on me. I didn't know how to deal with him. But it got to a point where I would, because I've got 3 children, I would take the first and the last one out to a birthday party, let's say. I will not take the second one because I personally couldn't cope. If his dad is not going with us, I can't cope. I can't, because he didn't know how to cope in a big gathering a social gathering. He didn't like it then. Now he's fine. Do you get me? So I would shield him.
You exposed him to it.
That's thank you. That's where I'm getting to.
true.
It got to a point I was talking to one of my friends. Yeah,
to expose them,
Yeah.
take them to the park.
shielding them.
Don't shield them.
Just
Take
let
them to the park.
let them treat them as normal.
as
The
normal.
way you treat. Obviously, it depends on you. Will have to assess them yourself to know their case. But I noticed that his case is not as extreme.
As what you think.
Thankfully, as what I thought it was. It's just a matter of them taking their time. He took his time. He's taking his time. So where he is right now is different from where he was
Exactly.
last year.
Exactly.
And it's shocking, right?
Yeah.
So I started involving him.
Yeah.
Instead of hiding him, I started involving him. Nobody can talk to me.
Giving total
Can I just say
concentration.
something to people who do not have kids
Yeah.
or who do not know about this topic right now?
Yeah.
If you're in public and you see people with kids and you see their kids crying and you see their kids, screaming or making you uncomfortable, if you don't have anything nice to say, keep walking.
Don't say nothing.
If you cannot offer a hand, if you cannot help, please just keep walking, because you don't know.
That's a great
Yeah,
one, man.
you don't know.
No idea
Yeah.
what
Right.
people are dealing
You're
with.
right. Thank you.
Imagine a stranger walking up to you and saying something nasty. It will make
I
you
mean,
want to take your child out.
Bruv, we're gonna call police that day. 'Cause
Then
I'm
let me
frustrated.
support.
You're vocal, so you might be able to, talk or say something that.
Exactly.
But so not everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even me, I couldn't.
tend to
It
cry
took me a
out.
while. Yeah.
I want to support Dorcas' point of view because it's really great anyway. And to be very candid with you, from experience, You know, what you've seen is in the UK, what you've seen is, oh, darling, so sorry. You cope with it and they begin to rub your back, they show you empathy.
Yes.
But let me tell you, outside of UK, from experience, what you see is that you begin to see parents taking their children off that place. You understand? And the next thing that comes to you as a mother is tears dropping out of your eyes. Like, what is this? This is not a death sentence.
Yeah.
My child isn't a witchcraft. My child isn't involved in anything that has to do with cultural, spiritual belief. But, you know, it's only God that understands. So I think, let me say that, please, if you are walking on the road, anywhere you find yourself, it can be in the UK, it can be any country, the only thing that you can do to bring about love and care to this family is to show empathy.
Yeah, empathy, yeah.
Rub them at the back. I can tell you, those children, at a point in time, they understand what their parents are going through.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And I'll give you from experience.
Yeah, like you come again. You mean like the kids understand that?
They understand at the time. It's a love for their parents, yes.
How so?
Yes, because from my own experience, and okay, let me for our understanding and knowledge of what we are saying, for us to have clarity. You know, it will get to a time when they are eating.
Yeah.
And they will begin to eat the parent, like calling the attention of the parent to get something.
Yeah.
Because they can't communicate their needs.
Yeah.
So they have to do that by expressing themselves, by eating the parents and beating parents. So it will get to a point whereby they will go and eat the parent on the eyes. And the next thing that will happen to the mom is to maybe the mom started crying. And do you know the next thing that you will see from them? They will hold your hand and they will begin to pat the mom at the back.
Yeah. This is more of a specific case, right?
I'm telling you, I'm saying it because it's personal, it's something that I have experienced, I've seen, I've been involved in it, and I can tell you that the child usually goes to the room and it will be there for like 5 minutes, after which it will come back. But before the child will actually settle and come back to where the mother is, the mother will have prepared whatever the mother thinks he wanted, or that will begin to help him to calm down. You understand? Another thing that we should also, parents at home should do. Parents at home, in African context, whenever your child, they are eating or they are doing things that you don't understand, you can cool them down by giving them milk to drink. Give them milk. Really?
What if the child don't like milk? Because that's another symptom is with they can be very picky. Some of them,
course.
just like you said, every case is different.
Yeah.
But they can be very picky, and I think from my research, a lot of children on the spectrum, they gravitate towards specific type of food.
Yeah, you are right.
So what I read, don't quote me, but what I read was that they like beige colored food, right? So when I read that, I actually sat back and looked at my own child, because one of the issues I had with him is his feeding, right? He's very picky with what he eats, and that's a lot of stress as a mother. It's a lot of stress on me because I've got 3 other kids, a husband and myself to think about. Now I have to think about how to sort you out.
Yeah.
So I looked about his feeding habits. If it's not chicken nuggets, it is chips. If it's not chips, Cerelac was one of them. For me to win him off Cerelac at 5 years old, it took the grace of God, which has no nutritional values. But I had to, because they like beige colored food. I don't know how true that is, but when I heard that, when I read of that, I actually looked back and I saw that, okay, how can my son not like jollof rice, please? In an African household, you don't like white rice.
You see? And so,
Nigerian
like
household.
you said, and some children,
it's the opposite.
from my own experience, is the rice.
Yeah.
All kind of rice. Is it jollof rice? Is it fried rice? Is it white rice? Is it stew? They want to take it. Then bread and tea.
Oh my God.
Oh, you can't substitute that from them. Bread and tea. You know, like we said, we have got them with various needs, and then with different kind of what they will post to you, depending on where they're coming from and depending on the level.
Yeah, I just have one more question.
All right.
So now, talking about when noticing that your child has maybe signs and is on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Do you start to worry about it when your child is not meeting certain milestones? for instance. Like you said, when they're like one and a half, they should start saying mama dada. So when they're like 2 and a half, they're not saying mama dada. So what other kind of signs should you look out for before you start
begin to get worried? Yes. Another thing is that you need to, some of them poses repetitive behaviors.
Yeah.
They set particular thing, and if you notice them that there is a particular stuff that they do, that they kept on doing, recurring. It's a sign for you to, and there is this one, that is very, very important, which is their focus interest. They tend to put their focus on a particular set of things. For example, if they like to watch PJ Masks, it is PJ Masks.
Watch that. Mine is numbers.
Oh, really?
The guy is so smart. That boy is so smart. And that's another thing. They actually, a lot of children, they are very intelligent.
Very, very.
They could be mathematically smart. They could be, they could read, the ones that can read. Music. When they are fixed on one thing, it's on that. Mine is numbers. And of late is piano. He likes to watch piano videos. Now I'm looking for.
When it comes to piano, has a lot to do with
I'm even looking for a teacher. Please, if you're a teacher, if you're a piano teacher out there, please reach out to me. I want my child to learn.
They're also good in music.
They're creative, so
they're
they can.
Very creative.
Yeah.
I like that question because Dorcas, for these children, for people out there, they don't tend to understand that they are special children with let's give the example of people that have this same spectrum that we have seen. We have seen them in the complaints organizations, and then we have seen them. They are the greatest inventors that we've come across.
Is it? It's not Elon Musk.
I think it's Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
The late Steve Jobs.
Yeah, a lot of them. I would have Googled it actually.
Okay, the musician.
I know this. You want to talk to.
You can imagine.
Cat Burns. Cat Burns.
Yeah, Cat Burns.
Yeah. There's a lot of people on that.
And there's one thing that you've talked about sensory. Sensory for them is so powerful. That is another thing they need to look out for in their child. Some like this light, while some doesn't like. I know of someone that the light will need to get to the child's eyes.
Jeez.
Yes.
Okay.
Then some is texture. Like
Play-Doh.
They
things. Just like
Then there are some of them that whatever you put them on them as their clothes, they must it to the mouth, you understand. Then there is this one that is common.
Covering your ears. Yes, this thing. They do it like this,
The moment
loud noises,
they don't want it.
It triggers them.
They don't want it.
I think some of them struggle in public because it's really loud in public.
Yes, exactly.
So the moment parents see that their children have got some of these identifying one that we mentioned, just know that something is.
There's something, and that's when you need to take action.
Exactly.
So I say this because I feel like a lot of African parents, mothers, I would say mothers, fathers as well, but a lot of it falls on the mothers.
Yes.
A lot of us are not yet in acceptance of this or understanding of this thing. We tend to overlook it and say, with time. But it's better. One thing I've learned personally is I used to have a guilt of if I had known, I would have acted on this when this boy was 2 years old. When he was way younger, I would have started this. Because there's a lot of resources out there for parents, for the child, with schools. If your child is going into a normal, a mainstream school, you need to know all this so that you can put things in place. If the child is on an extreme end, then there might need to be a educational care plan for the child. There's so many things out there. We obviously, like we disclaimed in the beginning, we're not experts and we don't have all the information. But please, if you notice any of these signs and symptoms, please start to speak to people that you trust.
Exactly.
If you want to reach out to your doctors, please reach out to them. And as a mother, an African mother, don't relent. Don't relent, because there's so many things that will make you say, okay, I'll chill out, I won't do it. But push as much and get as much as you can for the child, because it's out there.
Correct.
There are resources, there's fundings. There are fundings for parents that have to.
Do you think
No, I'm
girl,
not sure.
Bruh.
I'm not sure.
I don't think maybe not easily accessible fundings, but I do believe that if you speak to doctors, 1 or 2 doctors will have an
Information.
idea.
Oh, so we're talking about people in Nigeria now.
So I'm starting with people in Nigeria. If you speak to a doctor at least.
Yeah, but a good doctor, because there's a lot of hospitals out there that even they don't have the information.
They don't have the information, but they will send you in the right direction.
Yeah, but that's if they are good.
Maybe we should say it this way: before you go to your doctor, we are talking about people in Africa now, not necessarily Nigeria only. We say that before you go to your doctor, you need to observe and you need to document their behaviors.
Thank you.
Which
yes.
is the first
yes,
point.
That's the
How long
first
do you
point.
think it takes to document?
From when they are
Once you
from
observe,
1 year
once you
old,
notice.
the moment they notice that this child is not doing the normal way of how he's supposed to be doing, they should start documenting it, because you know why? Even when you go to your doctor, okay, the doctor will still want to ask you question back and in line to their behavior. What did you notice? What have you observed?
Yes.
Why do you think your child is behaving this way? So it is all those information that doctor will use to be able to provide you with solution, with support, with and one thing that we should also know, research has not given us what's the cause of all of these septon related issue that we're talking about. There has not been any kind of causes or whatever they can lay their hands on to say this is the problem, this is the issue. No way. Okay. But what they are saying is that when you observe and document behaviors, it will help the doctors to be able to provide you with necessary support and guidance. And again, I know that in Africa, we don't really have enough funding or organization who are really doing much on this. But this platform can actually help to get to the people, and to increase awareness of knowledge.
I really like that you said this platform can help. So guys, if you're watching, please share this video. If you know somebody or you suspect that somebody's going through what we just discussed, share this video.
Yeah.
On your social media platforms, you never can tell who it's share this video to as many people as you can. Leave a comment, and just to wrap it up, we really need to
we need to round up now because of time. We don't have. This is a topic that, to be honest, I feel like we will still touch on another episode. Maybe we might bring maybe a doctor on board. We will definitely get Mr. Tiawo back. Yes, definitely. But before we wrap it up quickly, have you got any sort of, we're talking about resources out there. Do you know any other resources, even for people within the UK, that where they can sort of go and get information?
Yeah, sure. So for people in the UK, you can actually access this by going to government.gov website. There are loads of information that can help you to navigate through in terms of supporting your child. Then you can also go to NHS. They are fantastic in this area. As yesterday, I was still with one of the specialist doctors, in charge of they are called pediatrician, and they are extremely good. They will provide you with necessary support. They will tell you where to navigate to get funding. And then if you are a single mother, probably as a single mother, you don't have anyone to support you, be rest assured that they are there to give you the right support that you want, and they will not leave you alone to die with it. They are always there to support you, to guide you. And again, I can tell you this, that in the UK, why I think that they are one of the best in this particular situation issue is that they will also provide you with a carer.
If you need,
if you need one. Different carers, or it's specific carer to?
No, that depends on what they can provide and the providers. But it will be like they'll put you, the social services will get involved and stuff. There's a lot that the point of this episode is that you are not alone
at all.
Reach out to somebody. You can even reach out to us. You can send us a DM on our Instagram. You can send us on our email, realdilemmaspodcast@gmail.com. Reach out to us. We can always try to point you in the right direction.
Exactly. And if you want to speak to Mr. Tiawo and probably ask him more questions from certain things that he spoke about, send a message as well
Yeah. So we'll just wrap it off now. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Tiawo,
much for having me.
for being on the pod. We really appreciate you. And
Thank you.
guys, I hope
It's
you've
an
learned
honor
one or
and
two
pleasure.
things. Like we said, we're not experts, but please take it.
Yes.
Take what we have given you. We're trying.
Exactly.
But Dorcas, do you have anything else to say before we wrap up?
Just that Mr. Tiawo owes me a bottle, and I'm calling it.
Is it a bottle?
This is, you know what?
We see what we do about that, man.
Okay.
But
All right.
before you go, please let me say this: that this platform is a great one that you all need to send back home for your people to subscribe to it, because it's an educative one and it can actually help you to reshape your fears and bring them into success.
Yeah, guys. You see, guys, we don't always just talk about man and breakup and cheating. We don't only talk about that. We talk about important things as well. So give us our flowers.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for watching. We love you guys, and stay tuned for next episode next week. Right. Bye.
Thank you.